So good evening to all of you. So the students who are in the online, am I audible? Confirm it, all of you. So the students who are in the online, please confirm it. Am I audible? Yeah. Raki, I am fine, ma. So take care by yourself, all of you. Okay. Now let us move to the further discussion. So last session, I hope you remembered me. We completed about what? Classes, and then various classes and objects and various programs on it. Have you practiced it, all of you? Practiced or not? Right. So now it is the time to go for today. The another concept I want to move into that. So that is known as what? Constructors. Within the class only, another concept is called constructors. Okay, na? So let us move to the topic name called constructors in Python. So I'm going to explain first as usual. So I'm going to start constructors in Python. Right. So what we are going to understand in the constructors in Python? Easy. Index as usual. So first we will discuss what is the purpose of constructors. What is the purpose of constructors? What is the use of class? What is the use of class? To develop programmer defined data types. Okay. And in OOPS, every Python program must starts with the concept of what? Class. Okay. Why do you use an object? To store the data. To store the, without object, can you store the data? We can't store it. So class purpose we know, object purpose we know. Okay. Now we are coming to inside the class, we are going to write constructors. Well, next I'm going to write it. Purpose of constructors, we are going to write it. Next, I'm going to talk about the another area here. That is definition of constructor. Definition of what? Constructors. I'm going to talk about definition of constructors. That is one thing. And next, I'm going to talk about another type of discussion. What are the rules for using constructors? What are the rules for using constructors? What are the rules for using constructors? Next, we are going to discuss there types of constructors. Types of constructors. Next, after that, we are going to use it. Syntax for constructors. Syntax for constructors. Next, followed by programming examples. Programming examples, we are going to talk. What are the types of constructors? I'm going to talk about. What is it? Default constructor. Default constructor. First one is default constructor. And the second one is called what you know? Parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. These are the types of constructors. This is the today's class agenda. Okay, students. Shall we start the discussion now? Yeah. So let us start with index. I'm going to start with. So I'm going to discuss index now. Fine. So purpose of constructors, definition of constructors, purpose and everything I'm going to discuss. So far, tell me what is the definition of class? Once if I open our topic in the class, coming to the point back, E colon, if you come to this 4 p.m, oops, if we come there, we are having one day, there is one small skeleton, I hope so. The skeleton is awareness about class structure. This is what we discussed in that. What we discussed so far. Please look into that carefully. First one we discussed what? Instance data members and right. Types of methods we discussed. Instance methods, class level methods, and static method. We are going to discuss what next? Right. We are entering into default constructor and then what? Parameterized constructor. At the end of the day, we need to understand the small concept called what? Constructors. Okay, na? Let's start. So at the end of the day, we must be good in this area. Shall we start? Good. Let us take one simple mechanism here. I'm going to take something like this. Class employee, it's a name of the class. I will try to reduce some small font. So I'll go for something like this. Class employee. Okay. Then there I used to write it. Say something like what? Pass. Carefully try to understand. Very, very easy that is. Now I'm talking about EMP example1.py. Fine. Pass. It is, what is the name of the class here? Employee. Every employee, every class name is by default treated as, every employee is by default treated as class name. Every employee is by default treated as class name. Okay, I'm asking that. Every class name is by default treated as what? So not reading. So what can I do for that? What can I do for that? Not reading and you are going on making me pressurizing. Every class name is considered as what? Programmer defined data type. Already there in the notes. If you don't read and just coming and sitting, what is the use of it, ma? So every class name is considered as programmer defined data type. Just now I told you also. So without that, how can I move forward? If I go on moving without taking your consent, you cannot follow. How it is? Main program I am going to create. So what I'm going to do inside this main program? So I'm going to write here main program. So what should I do there? EO is equal to employee. EO is equal to employee. Let me write properly. Is equal to employee. What is the content of employee? What is the content of employee? They will say, online students will say, tomorrow onwards you also come for online. Better. So it is going to be empty. Even 2 days onwards, I'm saying the same thing. It is an empty dictionary it is. So coming to the point of it, empty. How I was printed there? Print of content of EO is equal to, I already printed that, EO dot underscore dict underscore. You try to execute it. Go to your place and then 4 p.m. I'll go for oops and I'll go for constructors topic now. Inside of it, I will take constructors. So I'm writing constructors, right? Constructors I'm taking. Inside of this constructor, I'm taking this example. So I'm taking EMP. I'm writing EMP example1.py. Coming to the command prompt, I'll go to this. So say, go to this place of 4 p.m. CD oops. I say this. So go to the oops. There I will take it as what constructors here. So this is my code. Py, for example, EMP ex1.py. EMP ex1.py. So it is going to be an empty. So when the object is created by default, it is an empty. Now my question today is how you can place the data in EO? How you can place the data in EO? Either by using object name or by using instance method I told. I said that. Either by using object name. How I can say EO dot ENO is equal to something. EO dot ename is equal to something. Like that I can place. One more way is what? EO dot set what details? EMP details. This EMP details is going to be written here. What I am writing there? DEF. What is that now? Set EMP details of what? Self. Now I need to write inside. What I am writing inside? Self dot ENO is equal to I need to write the body. What I'm writing? Int, input of enter employee number, enter employee number. Now I'm taking next self dot e name. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take self dot e name. I'm going to take. So this is going to be called as what you know, e name. Now I'm writing dot sal is equal to and float of input of. I'm taking enter employee salary. Enter employee salary. Right, done. So self dot eno, self dot ename, self dot sal. It is going to be like this. Now I need to display the data. How you can display the data? So whenever I say like this, the method is defined, instance method is defined. Now I'm calling my method explicitly. So here you see calling the instance method explicitly. Try to understand. Calling instance method explicitly means by writing a separate line I just called. Now I would like to display the content. How do you display the content? DEF display EMP details. I will write it. Of what I am writing? Self. That I want to print it. What is my statement here? I will just take it. I will write it here. Understand? Because actually it's very simple topic. Once we understand classes and object, things are simple from now onwards. Employee number, I say dot format of ENO. Next print of what? Employee number. Self dot employee number I need to write it. Self dot. Now I will write it. Employee name. I say dot format of self dot name. So e name. Yes, whatever you have that. E name. Next print of employee. What is that? Salary. I say dot format of self dot what? Sal. Okay. Now I'm getting this point. EO dot display EMP details. So let us execute this code once and then try to see that. Finally, I'm going to give you what I want to say. Enter that 100, something like Raj. I'm saying somewhere else problem. What happens? Here also I written. For the name is concerned, I just written conversion process. It is not necessary. I should not write this. Yeah. So this Raj, some 2.3, I'm getting the data like this. I mean, when the object is created, I'm calling this function explicitly and I'm keeping my data into EO. Suppose if I don't call this kind of thing, if I don't call any kind of function, am I going to place my data automatically here? No. That means to place the data inside of this object, compulsory I must go for what? I have to call this function compulsorily. Explicitly I must call this function. If I don't call this function explicitly, definitely what will happen? Object data cannot be placed. Right or not? So you try to execute it. No function is getting executed. No output is coming. That means functions, the methods are calling whenever we call it. But my requirement in today is very simple. Whenever an object is created, I want to make some function internally to call automatically, which will place the data in EO. Once again, whenever an object is created, internally one method will be called, which will place the data automatically in EO. such a type of method in our Python programming, even in Java also, known as what? Constructor we can call. What is the topic name? Constructors. How the constructor is looking like? Constructor is also one type of function only. Constructor is also one type of method. How it is looking like? It is a fixed name is there for that. DEF underscore underscore init underscore underscore of what? Self, comma, self, comma, list of what? Formal parameters. List of what? Formal parameters, if any. If any, I can write block of statements. I can write many more statements here. What are the statements are doing? Reading the data for your object. What is the speciality of this? What is the difference between normal method and this? It is a special method. Constructor method is one of the special method. Why it is called a special method? Why it is called a special method? Always you have to write like that only. That is known as which method? That is known as which method? Constructor special method it is called. So that's why constructor is defined as what? It is one of the special method, which is supposed to be written always inside the class for placing our data inside of the object. So methods are meant for what then? Methods are meant for what? Performing operations. Functions are nothing but methods only I am calling. So constructors concept is meant for what? Performing operations. So coming to the point of it, now I am going to take this. This is by using methods. Today I am removing this code. What I will write? Underscore, underscore, understand all of you, underscore, underscore, underscore of what? Self. What this is known as then? This is called what, constructor. Constructor this is. Constructor is also one method. What is the speciality of that method? You need not to call this method. Need not to call this method. When it is calling? Automatically. During which creation? Object creation. See the line number 14? The line number 14 when it is calling, the line number 14 when it is creating, straightforward it will go to the class. Looking for what? Is there any constructor present inside? Yes, present inside. This will execute and prints the, accept the data. Put it in where? EO. That process is known as what? Initialization we can call. The purpose of constructor is to initialize our object. Earlier, how we used to initialize our data? By using set methods we used to use. But how I am initializing my object today? By using which concept? Constructor concept. Let us see that. After that, I will print EO1 dot underscore what? Dict underscore dict. Execute it now. Come on to the program. See that. What is calling? Some 400, some ROM. I say 4.5, something like 4.5. I got the data. ENO, and next is ename and cell. And what is happening here? Once again, whenever an object is created, straightforward, your PVM goes to which class? Employee class. Looking for which function? And constructor you have written some body already or not? That will be executed automatically. Placing data will be printed. EO data will be printed. And instead of printing that in the dictionary format, I want to print my own data. How do you print my own data? I would like to print. What I would like to print? Come on, say EO dot. Which one? Display. Which details? Employee details. I'm defining in some separate function. Execute it. Say something like 400. Something like Ramakrishna. I'm writing that. So something like 4.5. I'm getting number is, name is like this. And what is the special difference you observed with the normal method and then constructor? Normal methods needs to call explicitly. Constructors are calling object is created. I hope you are understanding. So shall I define what is the purpose of constructor? What is the difference between method and constructor? Methods are meant for what? Performing operation. Constructor is meant for what? Initializing the object. Initialization first, operation first. Initialization first. Later we do what? Operation. That's why inside the class, what we will write from now onwards? Class name we will write. Along with that, methods we will write. Plus what also I will write? Constructor also I will write. Why constructor is required? To initialize my object. Why methods I will write it? To perform the operations on it. Understand or not? So finally I am giving a conclusion here. Don't come like this, ma. If you want to come on time, otherwise don't come like this. So coming to the point of it, when you go to a bank, initializing the bank balance in the beginning, when you open an account, some amount you are initializing or not? So what do you like to initialize by method, or would you like to initialize by constructor? Constructor I will use it. Are you able to follow? So constructor related kind of concept, initializing the object. Now I am going to introduce, I will take this constructor and I will prepare the notes for it, and further I will go for the examples. So let us go for the purpose of, come on, the purpose of what? Constructors is that to initialize the object. To initialize the object when an object is created. When an object is, it's not necessary to initialize the object. What do you mean by initializing the object? Initializing the object is nothing but what? Initializing the object is nothing but placing our own values, placing our own values without, without leaving an object empty. Am I correct? Without leaving an object empty. By default, what is the value of an object? I already asked, once again I am asking you, why are you not answering? By default, what is the value of an object? Empty dictionary. So initializing the object is nothing but placing our own values without leaving an object empty. Without leaving an object empty, I am placing my own values. Who will do that? Constructor will do. That is what is happening here. You see here, taking here, this part, observe it. Whenever I create an object, it is automatically getting called placing our own values without leaving object empty. Suppose if I don't write it, once again I am showing, because when I am saying this, there is no signals from you people. I am going to say print of evo dot. Already I printed, second time I am writing. So execute. So coming to this place, what is that? Leaving empty. That is a word called leaving empty. Now remove this multi-line comment, eliminate this multi-line comment and place. Now execute. Now see that. Now see this. Execute this data. Some 300, something like what, Rakesh, something like, 3.4. I'm getting that. Is it empty? So placing our own data or not? Placing our own data. So coming to the point back, I hope you understand about the description what I'm going to do. So the purpose of constructor, Syed Muhammad Arfan, you please switch off your video. Otherwise, I am getting disturbance in my screen. Okay, take care by yourself. Right, take care by yourself. Fine, coming to the point of it. The purpose of constructor is to initialize the object. What do you mean by initializing? Placing our own values without leaving an object empty. Okay, so now I'm going to define definition of what? Constructor. Definition of constructor. Constructor. What is the definition of constructor? What is the definition of constructor? Yes, I'm going to give you the definition of constructor here. How do you define the constructor? How do you define the method actually? DEF, any variable name you can take it. But are you taking any variable name here? No. It is having a fixed name, special name. What is that special name? Underscore underscore init underscore underscore of self and then list of formal parameters. Constructor is a normal function, normal method or special method? Yes, now I'm writing. A constructor is a special method, which is, are you calling explicitly or implicitly calling? Which is automatically or what? Implicitly called by what? PVM. Which is automatically or implicitly called by PVM. A constructor is a special method which is automatically or implicitly called by PVM during what creation? Object creation. During what creation? Object creation. A constructor is one of the special method which is automatically or implicitly called by PVM during object creation and whose role is to place, whose role is to initialize the object. Initializing the object is nothing but what? Already I told you. Placing our own values without leaving object empty. Placing our own values without leaving object empty. That is known as what? Definition of constructor. Everybody will ask this question. What do you mean by constructor definition? There are two things are there inside. One is called what? Object constructor purpose, constructor definition. In the definition, I covered purpose also. What is the constructor definition? A constructor is one of the special method. Why it is a special method? Underscore init, underscore init, always fixed. Is a special method because it is not equal to the normal method name, which is automatically or implicitly called by whom? PVM. During which creation? Object creation. Okay. Then what you will do with it? What you will do with it? Whose role is to initialize the object? Immediately doubt will come. What is the difference between method and then constructor? Methods are meant for what? Performing operation. Constructor is meant for what? Initializing the object. Initialization first, operation first. That's it. Understand? Good. Now I am going to tell you rules for using what? Constructors. Rules for using constructors. And we are going to discuss that. And before that, prior to that, I would like to discuss even types of constructors also. Prior to that, I would like to discuss even types of constructors also. Let me talk about it. One by one, I will go for it. So, in this case, you see, in our example of yesterday's class, if you remember me, take for oops, classes and objects. There is a class called student, you take it. There is a class called student, you take it. Student, set student values, self. Some formal parameters you are taking or not? Yesterday's class. And you see this function. Is it taking any parameters here? No. Only one implicit parameter is self. And is it taking some extra parameters or not? That means a method is taking some parameters. A method is not taking any parameter except self. Like that, here also, when you look at this constructor is taking only self as a parameter, which is known as what? Default constructor we can call. Which constructor? Default constructor. Let me take a small example. Quickly, I will show you to make you to understand very spontaneously. Look at ma. I will take test.py class test. There I am taking def underscore init underscore of what self, and I'm just printing one message. Just I am from which constructor? Default constructor. How do you understand that this is default constructor? Because it is taking only which parameter? Self. That is compulsory to express its instance nature. Okay, let us come back to it immediately. Main program, I will write it. Main program. You see, T1 is equal to what? Test of. T1 is equal to what? A test of. The moment when I create a constructor, automatically this constructor will call. Execute this code. Execute this code. So I'm going to give execute. The moment when an object is created, automatically control goes to the class test, looking for the constructor or not. If constructor is there, execute. If constructor is not there, no more output will come. Execute, student, and see that. See this py test. What is coming? Something gone. Okay, I will write a comment there. Okay, mom. Right. See that I am from which constructor? Default constructor. Are you able to follow? Yeah. Let us go to this place. Which constructor it is? Default. Because it is taking only, yeah. Here, you look at this part. Here, class name, actually in Python, this is having one special name we are using. If it is a Java, we will use the class name itself is taken as a function name. That is called a constructor. That is different. Concept of constructor is same, but syntax are different from Java to Python, Python to some other language. So why to worry about other languages? Now I'm going to pass some values. What is that now? 10, 20. How many values? Whenever this constructor object is creating, do you know internally what is happening? T1 is passing to whom? And this 10 and 20 is passing to one more parameter. 20 is also passing to one more parameter. So I should take what? There. Come on, go there. What should I write? Now you tell me which type of constructor it is. Which type of constructor it is? Parameterized constructor. Okay, na? So along with self, I am defining which constructor? Default. Along with this is earlier it is default. Now it is taking some extra parameters or not? Yes, I am from which constructor? Parameterized constructor. Just execute it. Just execute. I will do the operations on it. Don't worry. So am I getting parameterized constructor or not? So tell me how many types of constructors are there? 2. Last and final, I would like to ask a question. Last and final, I would like to ask a question. The question is, now I'm writing something like this. Here, it is, now I'm writing like this. It is called which constructor? Come on. Okay. This is called which constructor? I am taking compulsory what here? Self is there, list of parameters is there. Which constructor it is? Right. So tell me, all of you, try to answer my question. What is the purpose of constructors in Python? What is the purpose of constructors in Python? To initialize the, right. What is the definition of constructor? A constructor is one of the special method. Always you have to use this word. Why are you using the word called a special method? Underscore, init, underscore, compulsory we have to write it. If it is a normal method, we will write our own name also. That is called ordinary method. It is called what? Special method. Are we calling explicitly or automatically calling? That is called automatically or implicitly calling. During which creation? Object creation. What it will do? Initializes the object. It initializes the object. Initializing the object is nothing but what? Placing our own values. Without placing which values? Default values. That is empty. without leaving empty, that word is clearly written here. Without leaving empty, without leaving object empty, it is going to be calling automatically. That is the purpose of what? How many types of constructors are there? Okay, now I am going to write it. Now I am going to write it. In Python programming, be careful students. In Python programming, we have two types of what? Constructors. Two types of constructors. Two types of constructors. They are, what is that now? First one is what constructor? Default constructor. Default constructor. Second one is, very good, parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. One is a default constructor. One more is called what? Parameterized constructor. Default constructor is also known as what? Default constructor is also known as what? Parameterless constructor we can call. Parameterless constructor. Parameterless is nothing but no parameters at all. Understand? How many types of constructors? One more is, very good. Now I will explain what is a default constructor. And before that, I would like to talk about rules for which constructor? Constructors I want to talk about it. Tell me, what is the first rule? First rule, please. The name of the constructor. The name of the constructor. The name of the constructor is always what? Underscore init. Underscore of what? Self comma dot. And before that, I would like to say one more thing, because instead of writing separate places, I will discuss here only. Syntax for what? Constructor. Syntax for what? Constructor. Tell me the syntax for constructor here. Come on, I forget. DEF. Okay, ma, Renuka, I will come to that. Your chart window is behind of it. Yeah, self I need to take. Okay. DEF, tell me. underscore init. Underscore of what? Self. After that, comma, list of formal params, if any. If I use formal parameters, it will give you parameterized. If no formal parameters, default. Are you understanding? Okay, I will write it here. Which statements I will write it? Block of statements. So I am writing here block of statements. Doing what here? Initialization. Doing what? Initialization. So I'm going to take up initialization here. Done. Keep it aside. Now I will go for what? Rules. Rules for what? Defining. Rules for using constructors. Okay. Name of the constructor is always what? Name of the constructor is always what? Underscore init. Underscore of self. That is the first point. Second point is what? What do you understand about the constructor? Constructor, are you calling or automatically calling? Purpose already over. Rules means I am talking about how it is executing, what is the name and all those things. Purpose already over, na? Yeah. Tell me. Constructors. Constructors, 1 minute. Okay. Constructors are automatically or implicitly called by whom? Called by PVM during what? Object creation. During what creation? Very good. During object creation. Next, please. After that, okay, I understand that name of the constructor will be like this. I understand that constructors no need to call. Constructors are calling automatically. Okay, come on. Constructors are meant for what? Initializing object. Initializing object is nothing but what? Dumping the values. Is it? Can I do any operation to be returned? Can I return the result? You cannot. It is not recommended for you to return the result. Just go for one thing. I am just trying to write. Return what? A plus B. Return A plus B. Inside of the constructor, I am using which statement? Return. How it is working? How it is working? Come on, what is this? What is this line? Object creation. Control goes to where? So T1 reference is sending to whom? 10 is sending to whom? A. 20 is sending to whom? I am printing this message and returning. And see the error. See the error. What is happening here when you say, see that init should return only what? Should not return. And who can return the value and who cannot return the value? A method can return the value. A constructor cannot return the value. Did you remember that? In a method, I said already in the functions, returning, not returning, taking, not taking, 4 approaches already, right? So you have to remember that discussion, students. I should not write return statement inside of my constructor. So it's a most important points. These are constructors will not return. Constructors will not return any value it cannot return. That is another point. Next is what? One more point I am going to say, and of course it is too early to talk to you. Constructors will participate in inheritance process. Of course, I did not explain so far. Inheritance is also one OOPS principle or not? That I am going to explain. Very short, in further classes, after 1 or 2 days, inheritance will start. That time this constructors topic, once again it will come. Polymorphism, method overriding, in those places this concept will come once again. Okay, constructors will participate in inheritance. In Java, constructors will not participate in inheritance. In Python, constructors will participate in inheritance. Inheritance means getting something from one class into another class. You have seen slightly in our exception handling, where programmer defined exception handling. Class pin error of exception. Class something like insufficient fund error of exception. Base exception, like that. So constructors will participate in where? As next time writing, constructors can be overridden. I will explain. This is a separate explanation in my class. What is meant by overridden? I will explain. Okay. Right now, you don't worry about these 2 lines, because I cannot write one rule one place, one rule another place like that. Because overall things is, I will explain these 2 things once again in the programmatically. Because all the rules I want to write it in one place. What do you understand about the rules? The name of the constructor. Constructors are automatically calling when an object is created. Constructors will not return any value. It will not return any value. And you have seen practically. And constructors will participate in where? Inheritance. And constructors can be overridden. Now I am going to give you the things, rules for using constructors, and I already done here. And next I am going to enter into last 2 things. You don't worry, students. These 2 things you don't worry. Again, I will explain in the programming. So let me speak to 2 seconds with online students. Students, are you understanding? Are you understanding, students? Is it understandable? Right. Coming to the point back. Now I am going to coming to this here continuation part of it. Next is called what? Types of constructors. How many types of constructors are there? 2 types. Yeah, Ganesh Verma, you asked us something. Sir, object concept completed or not? He is asking. Object completed or not completed? So object purpose is what? From the beginning, classes and objects. Of course, if you want, I will write give a separate explanation. Whenever we define a class, because when you ask like that, now I'll get a doubt about whether they are following or not. Whenever we define a class, memory space is not created for data members and methods. Whose memory space will be created when we go for object? How do you create an object? Variable name is equal to class name of, right or not? Then only very simple that is fine. So coming to the point of it, types of constructors. How many types? Two types. Two types of constructors are available. One is called what? Default constructor. One more is right. Now I'm going to take up why we use default constructor. I want to tell you in the class. Now I want to go for giving in the class. Shall we go for default constructor now? Or if you want types of constructors, I will explain separately. Types of constructors I will explain separately. Until that you keep it one place. Now I will go for what? Types of constructors. Okay. Now I am going for types of constructors. First, which constructor I will take? Default constructor. Or parameterless constructor I will take. Yeah. Look at this default or parameterless constructor. Ganesh Verma, if you want, I can show you once object concept in the same class. Don't worry. Okay. Don't worry. I will show you that. Look at. So, default constructor I am going to say. What is the default constructor? Here you need to understand the purpose and the definition and the syntax. First line I will write the purpose. Second line I will write the definition. Third line I am writing the syntax. Program also I will show you. Syntax I am going to explain. Syntax also I am going to explain. What is the syntax? DEF underscore underscore init underscore underscore of what? Self. Self. What I will write it? Some statements we will write it. Actually, default constructor in which context we will go? I am going to tell you that. Block of what? Statements. Doing what process? Which process is doing? Initialization process is doing. Initialization process is doing. Well, initialization process is doing. Sir, let us take one situation here. Understand, a default constructor is one which is not taking any parameters except self. Only self is taking, it is not taking any other type of parameters. So a definition I want to write it. What is that I am writing? A constructor is said to be, like a definition, pure definition I am writing. Is said to be, which constructor? Is said to be, which constructor? Default, if and only if and only if. A constructor is said to be default, if and only if and only if it never takes any parameters. It never takes any parameters. It never takes any parameters. A constructor is said to be default if and only if it never takes any parameters. What is the purpose of it? You see, it never takes any parameters. Of course, don't think that sir, self is the parameter. There is an implicit. If you want, I can write except self. I can write it. Okay, na? Yeah. What is the purpose of it, sir? Let us take one small example. Look at that. Go to a small example here. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to give you a clarification here. This is an object I want to create. This is one object. This is one object. This is called another object. This is called another object. This is called another object. So, what is this object here? I am going to take it. T1 is an object. T2 is an object. And T3 is an object. T3 is an object. T3 is an object. How many objects are coming? 3 objects are coming. 3 objects are coming. So here I am getting an object. Here I am getting an object. 3 objects I am getting it. So I am getting here A and then B. For example, I am getting AB. What is this AB? Associated with T1 and T2. I am waiting for the answer. I am waiting for the answer. The variables associated with an object are called what? The objects which are available with an object is called what? Ganesh Verma. Sir, I forget. Underscore in it. Please tell. Right. Tell me, what is this AB called? The variables associated with an object are called what? Like that, if you are, how can I move forward, ma? Like that, if you are, how can I move forward? You are not reading the notes. That is my simple botheration. That's it. Not reading. That is what is my simple botheration. When the subject is increasing, if you don't take care about by yourself, types of data members, I will open it. I clearly written, you see here, instance data members methods I opened it. Types of data members I will open. Types of data members. The data members which are the data members always available inside of the object, also known as what? Object level data members. A and B are the data members available inside the object, also known as what? Object level data members. Already there are not. Now you see that. I don't know whether you are reading or not, but I'm helpless. I can't make you again and again. Already so many days over. AB are what? Variables, data members associated with an object. A and B associated with an object. A and B associated with an object are called what? Instance data members, object level data members. Now, these are all called what? Objects of which class? Objects of which class? Test class. These are all called objects of test class. How I am creating that? T1 object, T2 object, and then T3 object. 3 objects are created. How do you create that first object, second object, third object? T1 is equal to object name is equal to class name of. It is as good as similar to what? L1 is equal to what? List of. Like that I am creating my own object. T1 is equal to test of. T2 is equal to what? Test of. T3 is equal to what? Test of. What these are all called? Objects. By looking at that, I can understand which constructor I need to define. This is called what? Default constructor. Not at all passing the value here. So immediately, I will go to which constructor? Default. Actually, default constructors are meant for placing my own values. Which type of values default constructor is meant for? To place. See students, 10 and next is called what? My requirement is 10, 20. In T1 object, in this place also, I would like to place 10 and the next is called what? 20. Next here also I will place it what? 10 and next is called what? 20. So I am going to take it 10, 20. What is your opinion about it? How many objects are created? Multiple objects are created. Multiple objects created. With which class? Same class it is created. How many objects created? And initializing with what values? Same values. Initialized with which values? Same values. Initialized with the same values. You just understand that. To do this type of process, use which constructor? Default constructor. Sir, how to define the default constructor now? You observe it. How to define the default constructor now? I'm going to take up. How to define? Look at. I will take it. Class. What is the name of the class? What is the name of the class? Test. Actually, I don't know why whoops is very difficult for the students of Python, but actually it is dead easy. So def underscore underscore init underscore underscore of what? Self. Self. Now I'm saying here self dot a. I decided to take a or not. A and b is equal to what? 10. Next I will write it here what? Here I am writing self dot what? B is equal to 20. Self dot A is equal to 10. Self dot B is equal to 20. Are you following me? Self dot A is equal to 10. Self dot B is equal to 20. And I just wrote it. Finally, this is the values I got it. Self dot A is equal to 10. Self dot B is equal to 20. Tell me what is happening during my first object creation. During my first object creation, what is happening? Go to which class? Looking for which constructor? Self dot A, self dot B. Is it the same thing happens or not? Next, T2, second object going to the same place, then doing the same thing. Second object created. Third object is there, going to the test class and then placing T3 and the same values are placed. Same class initialized with what? Same values. Which constructor is doing? What is this constructor is called? Default constructor. Are you able to follow? Right. Come back to this and let me show you the example also. Let me show you the practical example also. Let us go to this and I say others and Python, observe it. Class called what? Test. Which constructor this is? I will say default constructor example. Default constructor example.py. Okay, I will take it def underscore underscore init underscore underscore of self. There I am writing self dot A is equal to 10. Self dot B is equal to self dot B is equal to 20. Understand? I will print then and there, no problem. I'll print. How do you print? Value of A is equal to what is this now? Dot format of self dot A. Self dot A. How do you print the value of B? Self dot B is equal to self dot B. I will say this is called which constructor? If you want, I can write one statement here. What is this? I am from default constructor. I am from what? Default constructor. Yes, default constructor. Let us coming to the main program. Let us coming to the main program. How do you do that? T1 is equal to what? Test off. First I execute one constructor. Execute one construct. This one you execute it once. So go to the location of it. Go to the location of it. E colon. So I will go to which place? I'll go to 4 p.m. Say oops. I say here constructors. Save it. Out. Execute this place. Py. What is the constructor name? Default constructor. I am from default constructor 1020. Go to the next place. Here I am taking one more object you created. T2 is equal to what? Test off. Test off. Execute it. Once again calling. Actually, no more websites will give you much detailed notes and much detailed examples. See the total day and sit on any website. You will not find this many examples and this much of detailed notes. Read well and make your things good. Next I am going to take T3 is equal to so coming to this point place, T3 is equal to what is this now? Test off. Again it will go to the constructor, execute it. See that I am getting this. How many objects created? 3 objects. How many times constructor is calling? That means constructor will call only once or each and every time? Each and every time whenever an object is created. And which type of values are placed? Same values. Same values are placed. So constructors are How many types? Two types. One is default and parameterized. So which case I will go for default? Whenever you want to create multiple objects of which class and decided to be initialized with which values, better to go for which constructor? Default constructor. Sir, can't I use different values? Yes, definitely you can do it. But actually it's meant for that only. Where I read different values, sir? Where I read different values, you please look into that. I just already used in my EMP. What constructor it is? Default. In this I am reading now. In this I am reading. I created my object. For that object you want to read dynamic values, you go for what? Dynamic values reading. In default constructor only we can read the data dynamically. Okay. So very, very important. Take care of it. Now coming to this default constructor, purpose I'll write it. So let me speak to online students. Online students, are you okay with this? Is it comfortable up to here? Very good. Good. So what is underscore init? So Ganesh Verma forget. So I have to repeat the class again. So underscore is what? Init is called what? Special method. Already I told you, na? So underscore init is called special method. Treated as what? Constructor definition. Come on to the point. Now I will go for purpose of what constructor? Default constructor. Now I coming to that. The purpose of which constructor? Default or parameterless constructor is that the purpose of default or parameterless constructor is that to initialize multiple objects of which class? Same multiple objects of which class? Same class with what values? Same values. And don't say, some of the people will say constructors are used for creating an object. There is a blender. Constructors are used for what purpose? Initializing the object. Right? Fine. So constructors will not create the objects. Will constructors will create object? Never. Constructors meant for? Very good. So I hope default constructor, I am clear about it. Purpose of default constructor, definition of default constructor, and example syntax for default constructor. And I'll give you, if you want any example part of it, I'll just bring it. So here, a small segment, I'll bring it. So let us coming to that. I'll just paste it. This is related to which constructor? Default. Similarly, you want any parameterized constructor? Sleeping, na? Some already you are under that stage only. Come here. You are about to sleep, right? I think after a long time you came to offline. Earlier you used to come, right? Beginning. After that you came now only, today only. Sometimes you are sleeping. Correct? Correct? Whenever I saw you are under sleeping. Okay? Sit quiet and alert. Book is there? Do you have book? Bring your book. Open your book. Open your book. Giving notes, not giving notes also one drawback nowadays. If I give the notes now, at least writing sometime and listening sometime, that is also. Because writing notes by myself, program is myself, everything is myself. Story, direction, fighting, song, everything is one person only. Okay. So, listen, at least book is open means you will be active. Don't close the book. Open the book. Now see. Now I will write a parameterized constructor. Look at that. Look at that. Now I'm going to introduce what? Parameterized constructor. Look at my requirement is coming to the next stage is B1. B is parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor I am taking. What is the parameterized constructor purpose? Go students, diagram you take it. Go to the diagram now. Today, I want to place, okay, take it a new diagram you take it. What is my new diagram? I am expecting from you. This is called one object. This is called another object. This is called another object. See my dear students. There I am going to take it T1 object, T1 object. This is called T2 object. This is called T3 object. So in this place, I'm going to say, in this place, I'm going to write it. Here also I'm taking AB. Here also I'm taking AB. Yeah. There I'm going taking A. And then next is called what? B. B. You take it here A. You take it here B. Well, you take it A and then B. What is AB? Instance data members. Why instance data members? They are available as a part of the object. Beginning days also, course name Python, diagram is written, class level data member, instance data member, number, name, marks, available with object. They are all called what? Instance data member. So on complete day, only data members I explain. Still, if you don't remember, tell me what should I do? These are all called what? Test class. Test class. So test is going to be a class for these objects. Okay, sir. My requirement in today's class is, I want to place the value called 10. I want to place the value called 20. I want to place the value called 20. Well, here my requirement is place the value called 100 or place the value called 1. I want to place the value called 2. I want to place the value called something like 8. I want to place the value called something like 9. How many objects created? Multiple objects, 3 objects, 4 objects, 5 objects. Initialized with what values? Different values. So which constructor I have to use? Initialization means constructor. Same values or different values? So which constructor? Yeah, please define it. Please define first object you create it. Create the object please. T1 is equal to test of 10, 20. What is this please you look at? This is the constructor taking 2 values or not? Come on, next is called what here? Test of, what is this now? 1, 2. T3 is equal to test of what? 8, 9. 8, 9. Still I will explain. That's why. Careful, ma. Careful. Now I am going to define the class. Come on, please. What is the class name? Test. Come on now. DEF underscore init underscore of self comma A comma B. A comma B. A comma B. Okay, sir. A comma B. Well, sir. What is this constructor is called? Parameterized constructor. How do you know it is a parameterized? I forget it. Because along with self, some more extra parameters are there or not. So it is called which constructor? That's it. Now come on, say what are the data members you have with your objects? AB. What are these AB? Formal parameters. Now I need to take my data members inside the object or not? How do you take it? Self dot A is equal to A. Understand? Next is called what? Self dot B is equal to what? B. B. First time, come on, start with. First statement is going with AB. What is happening here? AB. 10 and 20 placed or not? Second object is going to this class init AB, and this is the one which is taking place. Third object is creating. This is the one which is creating 8, 9. Is it understandable? Yes. So this is going to be 1, 2, and then 8, 9. This is taking place here. I hope you are understanding what I am discussing. So let us coming to this guys, underscore init underscore self A comma B. So this is called which constructor? So how many objects I am initializing? multiple objects of which class? Same class with what values? Yes, different values. If you want to do it, which constructor I have to use it? Parameterized constructor I must use it. Which constructor I must use it? Parameterized constructor I must use it. So what is the parameterized constructor? I just now defined it. This portion is called which constructor? Yes. Understand? Go to this place, and understand this sentence. See, students in the online, did you understand this example? Did you understand that explanation, students, all of you? Yes. Good. So, right? My dear Ganesh Verma, already I wrote now, my dear student. You see here, I wrote it already. What is that? What is that written here? Rules for writing. The name of the constructor is always, like this. Syntax for the constructor, I wrote already here. Again, if you write why can't you write by yourself, your own notes? So I'm writing here, whatever you are asking, I'm writing here. You see, I'm writing that. Definition on what definition? Constructor definition is here. Definition of constructor. Definition is there. A constructor is a special method. I wrote it now. Definition of constructor. Rules for constructor. Syntax for constructor. Is a method name. Special method I said. These are all these things I explained it. Fine. Coming to the part next. Here. Parameterized constructor. Tell me, all of you, the purpose of parameterized constructor. The purpose of which constructor? Parameterized constructor is that to initialize multiple objects of which class? With which values? Different values. That time I will go for which constructor? Yes. A constructor is said to be which constructor? Parameterized. If and only if it always takes. It always takes parameter. Maybe one parameter, maybe multiple parameter. Maybe one parameter, what? Along with what? Self. Along with what? Self. Self is there. Self first parameter, second parameter. Which will hold what? Current class object reference. Once you say something, it should be more accurate. How you can get more accurate? When you read. So I have a very big doubt. Without reading, what you will do? That is my biggest question. What is my nature, generally? When my sir will give any notes, I will read 20 times that notes. 20 times I will understand, reading. 20 times. Will you read? Just one doubt I have. Will you read or not? Will you read? But why are you not answering then? Girls, will you read? Say quickly. But why are you not answering? Will you read? One time? But why are you not saying? Not remembering. Will you read? No, one time only you will read. One time if you read, how it is, boss? You have to read multiple times. So online students I will see. How many times will you read? Okay. Fine. So you will read one time. Ganesh Verma will read one time only. Because he is my favorite student always. He will take advantage of KVR. He said my favorite student. Ganesh Verma will take always such an advantage. So you must read until you need to give the response properly. So I can't take like a small thing like, right? Right. Yes, ma. Rocky, very good. Right. Ranjan, most welcome, ma. Most welcome. Put your doubt in the chat window. Sir, constructor like instance method, not a class level method or static method. 100%. You are correct. Constructors are whichever is taking self as a parameter, that is nothing but what? Instance nature. Why? Initializing the object. Object initialization means instance nature only. So it is your doubt or you understand like that? Is the doubt you are asking or is the things you understand like that? That doubt is nothing but it is a concept only. Constructor is like an instance method, but there is a difference. Instance method need to call explicitly, but constructor will call implicitly when an object is created. When an object is created. So, Ranjan, did you understand that? Did you understand that? Okay, understood. Ganesh, I told you already, Nama. Already I told you, na. Fine. Coming to the point. Let it be. So, okay, students. Coming back to this point, right? Fine. Yes, ma, Lakshmi. We have a yes, ma. I'm coming to that. Lakshmi. Very good question, ma. I'm coming to that. That is my next example. I'm coming to that. Let me show you the syntax. After 2 minutes, I will come to that, ma. Lakshmi, I will come to that. Yeah. See, syntax. I'm coming to that. A constructor is said to be parameterized. Always takes what? Parameters. Come on to that list of, what is that? Formal parameters. Which constructor it is? Parameterized constructor. Let us go to the example. Let us go to the example. Which one I will take it? Default constructor. I will go to this place. I will write it. So coming to this point, now I am going to take this scenario. Class, I am taking parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor example 1.py. I am taking here what? A comma B. A comma B. Okay. What is our question here? 1020. Next is called 100, 200. Next is called what? 1000 comma 2000. Understand, students? Yes. Come on. First time T1. T1 reference gone to where? Self. 1020 gone to where? AB. T1 is initialized with what? 1020. Next T2 object created. Go to where? Constructor. T2 reference is there in self. 100, 200 is there in AB. Initializing T2 with 100 and 200. T3 is equal to test of 1000 comma 2000. T3 is there in where? Self. 1000 and 2000 is there in where? AB. So I hope now you coming to the point back. Parameterized constructor example 1.py. So see this now. Parameterized constructor example 1.py. I'll go to this place. I'm saying that py parameterized constructor example 1. What happens? Say okay. Yes, ma. Yes. So is equal to A and next is what? B. Which constructor it is? You say that, you say this. I am from which constructor? Parameterized constructor. Okay, execute it. See that answer now. 100, 10, 20, 100, 200, 1000 and 2000. Did you understand? Fine. Go to this place. Go to this place. You want to print any ID? You can print it. You want to print any ID? ID of current object. All objects will have different ID, students. Come on. ID of what I can write it? Can anybody can say? Self. First time self contains what object? First time self contains which object? Tell me all of you. Online people will answer it. T1, T1, T1 they are answering. Second time, what is the reference of self? Next time. So why are you not saying? Coming to this point, execute. See the reference. It's not saved, huh? Yes, ma, not saved. I did not save it. Yeah. Save it, ma. Yes, ma. Shahid. I will show you, ma. Dynamically also I can take it. Dynamically also I can take it. Okay, Shahid? Wait 1 minute, ma. I will show you that. Dynamically also I can take it. Okay, I will show you that. Don't worry. See the IDs of it. First object, second object, third object. Did you understand? Yeah. Now, Shahid is asking one question. Sir, you are passing the values fixed. Can you create one object, T4 is equal to test of K comma V. What is that K, sir? K is equal to, what is that, sir? Int of, input of, enter, what? Value of first value. I can say what? First value. Okay, beautiful. Enter second value. Enter second value. I am taking. Enter second value. So I am taking K comma V. Which constructor is calling? Same constructor is calling. T4 reference passing to whom? Self. K value passing to whom? V value passing to whom? Same, but I will give a small gap I will show you because I am reading the data dynamically. Okay, please look at that. I'll say here, see that already these values are initialized with fixed values, 23 and 45. 23 and 45 data also coming or not? Shahid, did you understand, ma? Did you understand, Shahid? Fine. Okay. Very good. Let me move to the further. Right? Fine. Go to the place. Now, this is called what? Reading the data dynamically. Previous program is what? Which constructor? This is called which constructor? Good. Now I'm going to mix together. I'm mixing together. Beautiful. Coming to the point. One default program separately, one parameterized constructor separately. Now I'm going to use what? Both the constructors. Whether possible or not possible, I want to write it. Before that, I would like to ask a question. Where I taught this mechanism? In the arguments passing mechanism. Positional arguments, default arguments, variable length arguments, keyword arguments, keyword variable length arguments. Tell me, variable length arguments explanation, display of one argument, display of next argument. 3 to 4 functions I defined one by one. Did you remember that day? Did you remember? No, sir. Yesterday's class only we don't remember. How can we remember that many days back? 100% we cannot remember, sir. Right? That day I wrote one example. This program will not execute. You will remember that, I know. This program will not execute. Did you remember that? Say openly, boss. I speak only facts. Right or not? Okay. So if it is there, at least for your reference, I'll open it. Functions. Where it is? Variable length argument example. If it is there, see, this program, variable length, see, this program will not execute. Within seconds, I opened it. I am remembering file name also. What is this? Display of X, display of XY, display of XYZ, display of XYZ. Come on, students. Here, when the PVM comes to this place, display, it is remembering. When it comes to 6, it is remembering. When it comes to 6 line, it is remembering. When it comes to 12, PVM remembers same function name. It remember all the functions or only one function. Which function? Latest function. What is my latest function? Last one. But when you come to this place, will it satisfy this one? How many parameters you are passing? But how many it is taking? Will it matches? No. Will it matches? Will it matches? No, these are all called errors or not? Those days it is an error or not? Okay, that point I need today. That point I need today, students. Come on, ma. I go for take it. No tension at all. No tension at all. Go. I will take it. The same code. I will take it the same code. Be careful. That's what, when you read very thoroughly, nothing will be out of your control. Everything you will understand. I am going to give you default DEF param example, DEF param example 1.py. Okay, const also I will add it. That default plus parameter I am combining. How intelligently we will solve that issue, you can't imagine it. And that new solution is not coming all of them from the sky. It is going to come from our existing concepts. Let's start here. Which constructor it is? Parameter. Definition is there or not? Is there any problem in that case of whatever I have written so far? No problem. Please look into that. Save my code. Save my code. That's done. Out of that, go to this line. Py. What is this? Default parameter. I got perfectly the output. Understand? Okay. That ID. This is called ID I am printing. You want to remove ID? You can remove. Go to this place, students. Say here. I got the example. Okay, na? Very good. Come on to this point, students. Suppose I'm taking which one? Which one? Default. Default means I need to write default constructor or not? Fine. Just try to leave it, ma. Try to leave it. I'm trying to take this code as it is. I'm trying to take this code as it is. I'm writing like this. Watch it. Here I'm writing DEF AB, you don't write it, and say here 10, and here you say what? 20, and I am from which constructor? Default constructor. Please execute. Now I'm going to get a default constructor. Default constructor I am getting 10, 20, I got it. Did you understand? Go. Slowly go. Next. Slowly go. Okay. Now I will write what next? T2 is equal to test of 100 comma what? 200. 100 comma 200 I am writing. Tell me now. Which constructor? Generally student will think what? Lakshmi, listen ma. It is going to which constructor? Right. Definitely you will say 1020 printed, sir. This is also, people will think that it will go to this place or not. And they will think that 100 and 200. Everybody will answer in the interview point of view. Everybody will answer in the interview point of view. Answer is 1020, sir. Answer is 100, 200, sir. Answer is like that. But a student who is regularly in touch with my subject, of course, oops, if you see in any of the Python, I'm not boasting about our class, except my class, even other batches in the same place. Oops means only 2 days. Oops is over. That's why I said oops is oops. So coming to this point here, A, B. Come on to the point. My sir said already. What is the function name here? Underscore in it. What is this also? What do you feel about it? Is it the same function name or not? Like earlier, display. Here also what? Okay. PVM started here. PVM, remember line number 3 default. Okay, going on, coming. Coming to line number 9, PVM, forget about the previous, because PVM is an interpreter. Yes or no? Coming to the point of it, T2, line number 9 only remembering. Okay, come down to 17th line. 17th line is expecting which constructor to execute? Default, but PVM remembers which one? Parameter it is remembering. Is it a problem or not? It gives an error. Let's see. Execute this code, students. Execute, students. Okay, execute. Now you see the beautiful error. Beautiful error. See the error. Right, ma? Still I am explaining. Still I will explain. Okay. Okay. Not. Okay. This is called what? What is calling default constructor? But it is going to take how many parameters? It is supposed to be taking. How many positional parameters it is taking now? Two positional parameters. But it is not at all taking anything now. So is it mismatching or not? Then how do you solve this issue? First of all, did you understand? Now tell me, in a class of Python, can I write two constructors? No. Why? Can I write three constructors? No. Can I write four constructors? Display of first parameter, display of two parameters, display of three parameters, display of four parameters. My PVM remembers which one? Four parameter function only remembers. It can't remember what? Previous functions, because PVM is what? Interpreter. Remembering students. If it is a different names, it remembers, but same name with different parameters, it can't remember. So how do you solve this issue? How do you solve this issue now? To solve this issue, I must use one beautiful technique, beautiful intelligence point. Let me solve this. First of all, students, did you understand this problem, students? Did you understand? Asif, no, ma. Asif, no. First of all, did you understand this issue? Yes. Right. Coming to the point back. Now I am going to solve this issue. Don't write which constructor. I decided to write the default constructor with what values? Come on, ma. Which values? I decided to write with which values parameterized constructor? Default constructor, I decided to initialize T1 with 1020. T2 with what? 100 to 100. I say, it is not possible to define two constructors in the class. In Python class, it's a compulsory question. In a Python class, how many constructors we can write it? One constructor. How many constructors are there in Python? But how many constructors at a time I can write? That's why I separated taught default. I separately taught what? Parameter. I'm combining together how intelligent solution I will provide you. Imagine. Now see students, what is the T1 decided to initialize with? T1 decided to initialize with what values? 1020. T2 decided to initialize with what? Very good. Go. Whenever you call, it will go to this place. Now I am taking T is equal to 10 and is equal to what? 20. What is this concept called? Default parameters. Did you remember? Yesterday also I used it. College name. Default parameters. Come on, ma. What is happening? T1, first constructor. Where it will go? It will go to this. That means it is not carrying any values. Only T1 is there in where? And A value, B value will be taken as what? Default. By default 1020. Assigned to what? Self.A, self.B. Which values are assigning? 1020. So T1 is initialized with what values? 1020. What are the default values there? 1020 initialized. T1 value is initialized with what? 1020. T2 is equal to test of 100 comma 200. Come on now. Just start. Whenever this is calling, T2 reference kept in where? And 100 kept in where? 200 kept in where? Beautiful. What the values are creating in T2? 100 and? Okay. I am from default slash what? Parameterized constructor. Now see a beautiful example. This is execute. I am getting answer called what? 1020 and next is called what? 100 and 200. Right? Yes, ma. Renuka. Good. Now, Lakshmi, did you understand, ma? So, Ashif, very good. Right. Shravani, very good, ma. Lakshmi, you understand. Very good. So, in a class of constructor, in a class, how many constructors I can write? One. Only one. But how can I fulfill the need of default constructor and parameterized constructor? By using the concept of default parameter example, default parameter mechanism concept. I hope you are understanding. As good. Coming back to this place. Coming back to this place. Okay. Go to this place, students. Here I am writing. Go to this place. Parameter is the constructor. Example I will bring it. Parameter is the constructor. Example I will bring it. Here I will write it. Here I will write it. In an example part I will take. Here I am writing example. Here I will write one important code. I will write it now. One important point I will write it. What is that? Note point. In a class of what? In a class of what? Python. In a class of Python, we can't define both default and parameterized constructors. We can't define both the default and parameterized constructors because PVM can remember only latest constructor. Why it remember only latest constructor? Because of its interpretation process. Because of its, of course, due to its interpretation process. Due to its interpretation process. To fulfill the need of which constructors? Both default and parameterized constructors. What should we do? We define which constructor? Single constructor. We define which constructor? Single constructor we will define. Single constructor we will define. With what? With default parameter mechanism. Default parameter which to fulfill the need of both the default and parameterized constructor. We define a single constructor with a default parameter mechanism. If you want, I will bring this example part also. I'll bring this example also. So I'll put this example here. Under this example part, here we are having. This is called a single defined constructor. With what constructor? Default parameters I am using. Did you understand? So what is the use of constructor? Why do you use constructor? It's actually easiest topic. Today we are talking about only one small word called how to initialize the object. How to initialize the object? Constructor. What do you do with method? Operation. Where do you write method and constructor? Inside the class. What is the definition of class? A class is a collection of data members, methods, constructors. How many data members? 2. How many methods? 3. How many constructors? 2. But how many constructors at a time I can write in a class? 1. But how can you fulfill the need of both of them? With the default parameter mechanism. What is the name of the constructor in Python? Underscore init underscore of self comma list of parameters. Easy or difficult? Dead easy, not normal easy. Dead easy, that is. Dead easy. Nothing is difficult. Right. Students, did you understand today's class? Right. Very good. So it is very simple topic. This is. But I understand at a student point of view, little difficult. But if you practice immediately, it's going to be. Ranjan, very good. Sir, tell about object. Okay, Ganesh, tomorrow I will tell you. Don't worry, I'll take care. So tomorrow I will come up with what? Destructor. What is the concept? That also will write inside the class only. Still class concept is going on. Inside the class, I will go for what? Destructor concept, I will tell you. Okay, na? So I will stop the class. Tomorrow, don't miss that things. Right? Okay, Ma, Ranjan, very good. Okay, I'll tell you that. So tomorrow class, I'll go for destructor. That is also